Hi y'all, Miss Ladybug here, formerly known as Debbie Mayberry. But Ladybug is who I am today because I've evolved, I've changed, I've transformed since my days of taking pharmaceuticals as prescribed, such as benzodiazepines and opiates and antidepressants and a host of other things. Normally I make a video on July 11th for Benzodiazepine Awareness Day, and I did do a live feed yesterday, but I was very busy and didn't have time, so I'm doing my video today on July 12th for World Benzodiazepine Awareness. If you've been following my pages, you've seen my story, and if you haven't, and you've been just watching me for the last year or two, I suggest you go and take a look at where I was and how I was in 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, even 22. I've done the bulk of my transformation and gaining the life that I want for myself in the last 3 or 4 years since I've been on the road. When I say since I've been on the road, I'm a nomad. I have been traveling. I hit the road on February 4th, 2023. So a little over 3.5 years. And I haven't regretted it for a day. This was after years of living hand to mouth, literally, in a tent, on people's property, being subjected to being used, abused, shamed, demeaned, tormented, while I was sick, while I was going through all the wonderful, painful, mind-boggling symptoms that accompany many who are coming off benzodiazepines and other pharmaceuticals. You see, when these medications are made and tested for efficacy or for side effects, they're typically only evaluated for 6 months at most, and rarely in combination with other meds, and definitely not in combination with multiple meds, polypharmacy, which is what happened to me. Between 2012 and 2016, when I started coming off meds, I was prescribed 18 medications, some over the counter, but most prescription, by one nurse practitioner. And I'd been medicated like that before. And I'd been told that's what made me be a better person, was when I was medicated and feeling lethargic, sad, depressed, suicidal. That's when people said that I was tolerable, that I was fun to be around, okay to be around, because I was placid and quiet and agreeable. Well, to be quite honest, I know myself, and I don't think you'll find many nomads that have encountered me that will find me disagreeable, except for those that have crossed boundaries, and I've had to call those out, because I do that today. I didn't do that back when I was taking meds. I was agreeable. I did what other people thought would be best for me, which was actually best for them, because if I'm easy to manipulate and can't think well for myself, then I'll be how other people want me to be. But that didn't work for me. That made me miserable. So I made changes. I made decisions. I made choices for myself, not for the benefit of others. I wanted a life. I had ideas of things that I wanted to do and places I wanted to go and people I wanted to meet and experiences I wanted to have. And being medicated kept me connected to the doctors. I had to check in every month to get everything filled up. Connected to the doctor to keep getting all the stuff that they wrote so that I could get disability, which I'll tell you, going back and reading some of the things, the way they wrote them judgmentally, not objectively as they should do in medicine, it's alarming. It's very alarming. But when I made the decision that I was going to find out who I was without any medications, without doing what everyone else wanted to get their love and attention, when I decided to put myself first, take care of myself in the way that suited me, and do the things that I enjoyed, my life has blossomed in the most amazing life. I'm having so much fun. I'm free. I'm free to be me without medications. Not any. I do use cannabis. Cannabis, we have an endocannabinoid system in our body, just like we do an integumentary system, which is our skin, or gastrointestinal system, which is our stomach and bowels, or our cardiac system. Well, we have an endocannabinoid system. And mine is very healthy, and it has made a difference in my central nervous system, in my thought processes, in many, many arenas of my life. It has made a difference. And I'm not high. You can ask everyone who's around me all the time. I might be goofy, that's just me, but I'm not high. I am healthy. So, I don't follow any special teachings. I did back in the day. I was in all the groups. I was, the Ashton manual, which Dr. Ashton was one of the first who studied the problems of people coming off of benzodiazepines and how it hadn't been studied well. But her study is outdated. And there's lots of things that aren't true because I have tested them myself and with other people that I know that are going through the same thing. And they are having excellent results using cannabis, even though even mentioning that in many of the groups was forbidden. And that's why I left the groups, because when people were trying things, if it didn't align with either the Ashton manual or with whoever was running that group, if it wasn't in alignment with what their protocols were, they would never even let someone discuss benefits they were getting from doing things that all the guidelines that were written long ago and really had not been studied except by one person, they don't work for everybody, okay? Another reason I left the groups was all everyone talked about was being sick. I didn't hear anybody talking about being well. I didn't talk to anybody about choosing happiness, about choosing to question all the thoughts and ruminations that go on and on and on, because you can change that even with being in benzodiazepine or other withdrawals. Maybe not at the very beginning. Maybe you have to wait a little while and just eat well, get fresh air, get mild exercise. But you can question and redirect your thoughts. Your brain is so powerful. And what you tell it every day is what is going to be your life. I know from experience. When I talked about how sick I was every day, when I talked badly about the doctors and all the people that had screwed me over and all the things that had happened to me, that just kept repeat, and of course the ruminating. But when I started focusing on things that weren't in the past or that I might be able to influence, like how I thought or challenge those thoughts of, I'm afraid to go outside, agoraphobia. Oh, I can't. Well, as long as I was saying I can't, I couldn't. But as soon as the day I said, just sit on the front porch for 5 minutes, you're not going to die. No one's around. No one's going to hurt you. The sun won't hurt you. When I countered my thinking with truth, not the irrational thoughts of a mind that's gone rampant, I was able to. And then I kept adding on to that. Well, let's walk out to the driveway. See how that is. Get the mail maybe. Go down the block. And I started walking again. And I started being outside again. And then I got stronger and stronger. And every time I've challenged old thinking or ruminating thoughts or things that weren't really rational when I really laid it out and looked at it, I started having so much better life and feeling better and being able to do more. To where now I'm traveling. I'm getting ready to start traveling internationally. I have been traveling cross country. I've been on the plane like 5 times in the last year. Cross country. I am working a part-time job. I deal with lots of people doing volunteer activities as a nomad out in the middle of the desert. I deal with all kinds of personalities, and I am regulated. I'm not reactive to all these personalities like I was when I was first coming off these meds and while I was on them. So I urge you to take a breath and to challenge the thinking that's keeping you stinking. Because it's stinking thinking. Because it makes a difference. What you think and say about yourself and your life has energy to it. And some people say, oh, that's woo-woo. All right, you say whatever you want. It's working for me, because when I think things and talk about them and write them and put energy into them and study them, I make them happen. It's a really wonderful thing. So that's where I'm at. 10 years after discontinuing, I jumped off taking Xanax, a milligram. I'd been taking like 3 to 5 milligrams. I'd come off opiates 2 months before, May 10th, 2016. And then July 12th, when I had my last 1 milligram Xanax, I decided I wasn't going to fill it anymore. And I was just going to find out. And boy, what a trip. Those first years, I at times wasn't sure I was going to make it. But I did. And I'm so glad. I'm so excited because so many things are possible. Now, I'm 64. I just had my birthday in May. And sure, I have some things that hurt or don't work the way they used to. And that was true 10 years ago too, that I was aging and there were things that were changing in my body. And that was one of the issues I had in the groups, was that everything was blamed on pharmaceutical injury, on benzodiazepine withdrawal. But that's never the case, that it's the only thing. It really isn't. There's too many other variables that aren't talked about. No one talks about having complex PTSD or PTSD from childhood trauma, or that they've been an addict and had other meds that they came off of, or other street drugs, or that they're drinking themselves to death every day in addition to coming off the meds, or they've had children die or parents die while they're going through this. That upsets your central nervous system. That adds to it. So we can't blame just one thing for what happens in our life. People have all kinds of things happen in their life that don't go the way they want them to, or that are difficult, big challenges, big sicknesses, big upsets, houses burning down. Here in Colorado, we've got one of the largest fires this state has ever seen, and over 800 structures have burnt down. People have lost their homes, and maybe they're sick too. Who knows? But they're going to go through it. People go through things, and they get through things, and they still can have a really awesome life despite grievous losses and challenges and abuses that they've endured in their life. So, I am so grateful to be living my life 10 years free from benzodiazepines, 10 years free from opiates, and actually on January 1st, 2018 was the last time I took any medications regularly. I don't even go to the doctors. I haven't been to the doctors except for what was going on with my colon 3 years ago in 5 years. Because I know what's going on with me, and I know what they might do, and I'm not willing to do those things. I'd rather just live with my discomforts and my challenges that I have, because I'm managing them. I'm living with them. I don't let them control my life. I choose. I choose how I feel. I choose how I think. I choose where I am. I choose who I have in my environment. I choose where I go. I choose, and I chose this life. And I probably even chose the benzos because I took them. I didn't do my research back then. And I do think they overprescribe, and I do think they don't give the right information. But we're all adults, and information is pretty easy to find. And I tell anybody that's taking any pharmaceuticals, have you researched that? Have you really looked into that to see if people have problems with that, or if there's an alternative, or if there's something else you might do? Because side effects are a real thing. But people are going to make their choices. And you just have to love them or not. If somebody's making choices I don't want to be around and it's causing problems that I don't want to be around, then I'm not going to be around that. If people are needing help to be redirected, I'm happy to do that. If people want a little bit of mentoring, I do coaching. Reach out, talk to me. I'm happy to help. But if all you're going to do is tell me how bad everything is and how you got screwed and you have the worst life in the world, and I'll listen to it for a minute, but I want to hear what you want to have and what you're willing to do that, and what efforts you're willing to do that, and how committed you are. I want to hear that you make a decision to have something different like I did. And maybe you can have the life that you dream of when you allow yourself to dream and get out of your head that's spinning of how bad it is. Anyway, that is my 2026 Benzodiazepine Awareness Day spiel. It's evolved over the years tremendously. And while I don't want to talk about all the crap again, if people have questions, I'm happy to answer those. I'm not a big chatter. I'm not going to chat with you for a long time. I'm happy to do a 15-minute free consultation. Message me, we'll make an arrangement, and we'll do either a FaceTime or a phone call, whichever suits you best. But if you just want to tell me how bad everything is, I'm not going to be the person for you. But I am for you if you want to get well. So I hope you are finding your way to the life you want. And I hope that maybe by watching my videos and seeing my path, you might be inspired and encouraged, or it might be helpful for loved ones to see. It's a hard thing. There's no doubt about it. But it is something you can live through and find a good life after. Anyway, thanks for watching. I wish you all the most love and peace you can find in your life. Love ya.